Hello and welcome to Green Pass Gaming. I am your host Flap, and as ever in the co-hosting hot seat tonight we are joined by Puxley. Hello Pux, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Flap. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well. I'm going to have to come up with a different intro to this because I say exactly the same things to the word almost every week. So
Just change the pitch a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a bit creative with that, to be honest. But no, it's great to have you here as always. And we're trying something slightly different this week, so chat. So forgive us if the tech kind of lets us down a little bit. I'm hoping that we can get through tonight with the tech holding in place. But let's move on with our esteemed panel of guests. Another regular to the show. Every week we're here. VJ, how are you, sir?
Great, Flap, and thanks for having me back on the show. And it's good to see Luke is back and Puxley as well.
Exactly, yeah. We make a good, one of the comments that we do get is we all kind of click very well, and we are very selective with our guests, and I'm very, very pleased with the guests that we have because they're very knowledgeable and very respectful, and it's what makes the show, to be honest. I absolutely love it, and it's an absolute joy having new people on, but actually being able to invite people back, that we love that much that they're coming back for. I don't know, Luke, what's this? Your fifth term? How are you, Luke?
Yeah, fifth, I think, fourth or fifth. Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, really happy to be here, and really cool show. So delighted to be part of it.
Well, we normally do a quick spin round of what we've been up to this week, so let's do that. And we normally go in reverse order. So, Luke, what have you been up to?
I've been playing the Doom Eternal DLC, so the Ancient Gods Part 1 on PC, which is...
I downloaded that and got about 3 minutes in, and something else took my attention. But is it good? Is it worth my time?
Yeah, it is. It's very good. It's kind of... It's got some interesting story stuff that happens, which I know is a weird thing to say about Doom, considering it's not really about that. But it's still quite interesting, and it's really like 100% from the first level. It's literally like the end of Doom Eternal, but all the DLC is like that. So it's really intense. There's lots of marauders all the time. There's lots of very difficult enemies all the time, and it's kind of frustrating, but in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Like when it's that really hardcore kind of jumping about and trying to survive, it's just brilliant.
It's pretty cool that you get to keep all of your guns and stuff as well. Level all of that up. So.
Exactly. Yeah, to being able to come out with like the BFG straight away is like
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to have to fire that back up because I did to spend the money on it, and I definitely need to get back into that. VJ, have you been up to much this week?
Yeah, actually, with the fires and. With the power going out and with the internet up and down, but I've managed to put a load of hours into Ghost of Tsushima. I'm just at the end of Act 2 now, and it's by far the most gorgeous game I've seen. It's just every 30 seconds you're in like completely distinct environments and just loads of interesting characters, really well-paced story, really sort of well-placed side quests as well that you can see on the map, and it's just you just know what you're doing at any one time. You're not completely lost or out of the way or losing track. I'm really enjoying it, and the combat's just getting better and better and evolving, and I'm really sort of engrossed in that at the moment.
Well, that's fantastic. And this late in the generation, I know you've got a Series X on order, and so we're just over a week away. We'll be doing all our own unboxings and stuff, but it's still great that you can be having those sort of great experiences this late in the generation.
Absolutely. I've got my eggs and flour ready just in case Costco let me down.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I've got my rocket launcher ready, so I think they're getting away with eggs and flour. Pux, what have you been up to?
Been a bit of a pretty busy week this week, so not too much. I dabbled into some Goner 2 on Game Pass and PC, which is an interesting little game. I remember playing the first one. I don't know how to describe it. It's like an abstract roguelike shooter. It's a bit bizarre, and I don't know if I liked it too much, if I'm perfectly honest, but that's the one thing I tried. Outside of that, I think we were just talking about just before we came on, I've actually given myself I dabble a little bit into some indie game dev stuff in my spare time, and I gave myself a little Halloween challenge, and I've put a little thing together in about 12 hours, which I think was pretty cool, inspired by a Pumpkin Jack, but nowhere near as good, of course. I actually not long finished it, so I'm going to try and upload that to itch pretty soon today, and then hopefully if people want to give it a go, I can send out a link, and tell me what you think in the comments of that link.
Yeah, fantastic. Is that in Unity?
Yes, made in Unity, yeah.
Excellent. Oh yeah, definitely ping out a link and we'll have a look. So cool. Oh, that sounds really interesting. Actually, I know you DM'd me earlier, didn't you, with a little sort of graphic that you'd done, the character design. Stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've been putting an unseemly amount of hours into Supraland, which landed on Game Pass this week as well. And it's a platformer game, quite simple, one you haven't got to think about too much. But I really enjoyed it, actually, from start to finish. A really big game, actually. I think it's a lot bigger than I assumed it was going to be. But yeah, Supraland. Check it out if you can. I was going to stick that video up tonight of Supraland, me playing that. But we've got a bit of a different show tonight, everyone. I thought we'd try and keep the hype running because, as I say, we're little over 1 week now, and we will be doing all of our own unboxings of Series X and S, and a bit of over a week later, obviously PS5 and things. But even just reading the Twitter tweets and stuff like that, you get a sense of everyone's hype at the moment. And I thought, we need to carry on that hype. I know Halo's had some kind of disappointing news. I don't know. I don't know how overall that's going to affect the Halo development, to be honest. But I thought, you know what? Let's go back to the May and July showcase and remind ourselves of all of the games that we've got yet to come, because I've got to be honest, when I was going back through these, I'd forgotten about some of these games, and some of them look really good. And we're just basically going to commentate over the top of each of these games and chat. I really need you guys to get involved as well. Let us know if you'd forgotten about this, if you plan to get these games on day one when they're launched. Some of them are obviously November the 10th titles, so they're actually launch titles and stuff. Yeah, so we're going to start with the May showcase. I just need a little bit of help from the chat. I just want to make sure we get our levels okay. I don't want the video overpowering our talk too much. For everyone on the panel, the video may sound a little loud to us, but when it goes out on the stream, sometimes it's a little quieter than we hear it in our headphones. But yeah, so any help with that chat would be grateful. So yeah, let's get into it. And so this is the May showcase. This one's about half an hour long, and we'll go through sort of game at a time and see what we make. First up is the new Xbox logo, actually, the loading screen. But first up, we've got Bright Memory Infinite, which really surprised me. Actually, it impressed me no end when I first saw this in the May showcase.
I think this is an important thing as well here, isn't it? Like, every game you're about to see is optimized, which is always a nice thing to know.
Exactly that.
Yeah, it's a good-looking game. This.
Well, it's created by one person. Well, it was earlier in development.
Yeah, I think he's got some outsourcing.
That seems hard to believe, doesn't it? One person. I mean, you make your games. Wow, one person doing all of this.
Well, to be fair, a lot of this, I read about this a few months ago before it kind of became an Xbox thing. It's a guy from China, I believe, that's putting this together. And I believe for a lot of the early prototypes, he did use kind of asset stores, which is obviously a legitimate way to make a quick game on your own. But apparently he bought the assets, but then modified them to fit his own needs. So not everything was done by him solely, but in terms of the gameplay, I believe it was all done by the same one person. But even so, it's still an impressive feat. And I don't think what I just said there is that's not a negative at all. I think if you're on your own, you need to take shortcuts. So,
well, we've got Bright Memory 1.0 launching on the 10th of November, and that's like a tech demo of this game. This game launches at some point in 2021, but the tech demo, Bright Memory Infinite 1.0, as it's called, is launching on the 10th of November. Apparently, it's going to be £6.99 or $7.99.
Well, I think this game's also great to show off as well, given that it's only, mainly made by one person. Is the power of Unreal Engine, which I think a lot of people sometimes can underestimate. Because it has a lot of kind of graphical features out of the box, so to speak. Whereas in something like Unity, you have to do a lot of manual configuration to get the same kind of output.
Apparently that's in Unreal Engine 4.
Yes.
Are you getting that, Luke? Is that a day one for you?
I played a little bit of 1.0 actually, and it was quite good. I don't know if I'll get it.
What
I
you
don't
just
know if I get
witnessed
1.0
was
day one,
bright
but I
memory
think I'll
infinite
probably
for
go for
plays
Infinite.
created from the
VJ, is it on
ground
your
up
list?
by a single individual.
Not
at
entirely, but
NYPD
I think what it's
Studio in
showing is,
China.
see, 15 years ago,
Developers are
so
using
EA and
hardware to
Ubisoft
achieve
established
their
their own
dreams,
sort of
and
outsourcing
their
studios in
nightmare,
China.
an amazing
EA
machine
Shanghai,
with the power
EA,
to optimize their games the way
Ubisoft
they want.
Shanghai and
Higher
Chengdu. And I think
resolution,
what you're seeing
frame
is
rate, ray
remnants
tracing,
of
and
that
yes,
with people,
faster
individual
in-game
talent, but
but it's
games
also
are a lot different right now, but they're definitely showcasing the talent that's, and not just that, but writing and narrative and storytelling, not just with this game, but just generally a lot of talent that's been developed over in China. And I think we're going to see a lot more of it over the next few years.
Yeah, you know what? So do I. Yeah, so do I. And I think PlayStation and possibly Xbox, Microsoft will be looking to get some of those into their first party, actually, because they do bring a different perspective.
Yep. They've had 15 to 20 years of creating assets and getting to grips with development tools and kits, and obviously Unreal.
Apparently, looking at the platforms, and this is all from Google, so if it's wrong, I do apologise, but apparently Bright Memory Infinite's coming to iOS. I can't believe that, but that's what it says.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I have no idea what engine and stuff they're running, but I'm assuming Unreal's scalable, right, across formats.
Yeah. So here we have Dirt 5. That was in the news recently. IGN was saying that they weren't overly impressed with the next gen graphics, but I have to say that it's a Dirt game, and I thought it looked quite impressive, actually. Got to be honest.
But do you think that same if you compare this directly with Forza? Well, I don't look at this and think it looks as visually pleasing as Forza.
No, it doesn't. But it's a Dirt game, isn't it?
I think what you got to remember, guys, is that I think in 2009, right? I think it was Nicholas Wheelwright and Trevor. They both left Codemasters, right? And then they set up Playground Games 15 minutes down the road, and I remember because there was a court case, right? About because they also nabbed about 15 or 20 of the key guys over at Cody's, and there was a court case about it. And but it was never the same after the Darling Brothers sold out, and I think that's what you're seeing here. They sold out to Alliance, I think, and it was never the same after the brothers stepped down. And what you're seeing in Forza is the best talent that left Cody's, right?
Yeah. Well, this actually launches on Friday for all consoles, and obviously, I think on the November the 10th, you'll get your Series X and S update. Now, this is a strange one, Luke.
Yeah, this is Scorn, isn't it?
Is this your bag?
I really like this, actually. I don't know how it will turn out in terms of gameplay. They released that 12-minute gameplay the other day, didn't they? Which actually, very impressively, is very close to this very trailer that we're watching, at least in a visual term.
It's very slow-paced, though, isn't it? I was kind of expecting a Doom type thing, but it's not at all, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a horror puzzler with shooting elements. It's a very strange title. I mean, it's been in development for such a long time, and I've watched it for years and years, and always been quite interested in it. So I mean, and it's coming to Game Pass, so I'll absolutely be playing it, because I just think, just in terms of oddness, it's one of those you kind of have to go and at least have a try, right?
Absolutely, like you say, the fact it's on Game Pass. I should think everyone in the chat, everyone tuning in, will probably be giving this a go, because it is a very odd-looking thing, quite phallic and not to race.
As Luke said as well, like I watched that 12-minute gameplay demo, and obviously I was thinking, what the hell is this? But equally, I say that in such a way that I'm actually even more intrigued in it than I was just by watching this trailer. So I'm actually quite looking forward to trying it out.
Yeah. So yes, 2021. It's running on Unreal Engine 4 as well, coming out on the Xbox Series S and S and PC. Yeah,
it's very impressive, actually. It's only 12 studio as well. Only studio.
So what I found weird on the gameplay was like when the guy or the person's like carrying the weapon, but then they go to like reload and put an attachment on. It's almost like an actual weird living organism thing, which kind of becomes the gun.
They kind of just change the barrel bit, don't they? It's very weird. Chat, are you guys looking forward to this? Is this something you're going to be playing, do you think?
Some people are saying they're not into horror. I've just seen in the chat, which is fair enough.
Yeah, no, that is fair enough.
It really reminds me of this June trailer, right? It really reminds me of Prometheus. It really does, just like with the pyramid and the sort of the chambers and the light shafts and whatnot. Too creepy for me.
This is Chorus again. Release date 2021. This one's kind of growing on me, actually. I don't know if it's coming to Game Pass. I don't think that's been announced whether it's coming to Game Pass. I don't think it is. It's by Fish Labs and Deep Silver.
Yeah.
I guess in these bits of cuts, sort of cut screens where you see her, I'm guessing the main gameplay is obviously the flying around in the ship bit.
Yeah, I look at that and I'm thinking, is this my kind of game? I'm intrigued by it, and I'll definitely give it a go if it's on Game Pass. But yeah, these kind of games, if it is just like a flying around space thing, aren't personally my thing too much. So I'm not sure if I would dive in if it's a paid thing.
I thought it was the intro to. I thought it was the intro sequence to Scorn. Sorry.
Now we're on chorus.
Oh dear. I thought I tried joking.
Apparently this is coming to Google Stadia, and again, I've got all of this information from Google. But there's quite a few games that we're seeing that have, got Google Stadia next to them.
Yeah. Not a place I doubt any of us will be playing it.
No. Not if you've got a Series X or a PS5 on your TV. No, I wouldn't have.
Definitely not. Only in emergencies.
It's like a trend. Come on, Luke.
Fun Speculation said it looks really sharp, and it does. I think that's a game that could easily pull in 4K 60, if not push beyond that.
Yeah, I think they're doing ray tracing in it as well.
Oh dear, Madden.
Yeah, sports games aren't really my bag, I'm afraid.
No,
I know loads of people love them though.
Bit of a rail crash. This. I mean, the Metacritic score is 63 at the moment, but the user score is 0.2.
Jeez. Any reasons for that?
Just copy and pasting from previous years. I think there is literally game footage where it says Madden 20 up on some of the sort of billboards in the Madden 21 game.
That's not good.
Just reusing assets and stuff. No, it's
Sounds
not
like
good.
similar issues to the newer FIFA games from what I've read about in the
same.
past.
Yeah, exactly the same.
This is what they're showing now. I really do prefer EA, from the Mega Drive generation of Madden games, Desert Strike, Hockey, Larry versus Bird, Celtic versus Rangers, and Road Rash. Those were the days when EA made good games. And,
NHL. I used to love NHL. That was one of the games I used to play a lot.
Yeah, they're so much more innovative back then. I don't know.
I remember the old sports games we played as well. Like Virtua Athletics, whatever it was called. You have to bash the two buttons together really quick to get your character running in a straight line.
That was on the old Sega days. Yeah, that was the Saturn days. I've still got it. I think it's called Virtua Athlete. I've still got it.
The game isn't just about what
Fantastic.
you can see, not what you can feel.
Yeah, it just feels like a cash grab every year, doesn't it, from EA with these sort of games?
21 on Xbox One.
Yeah, I think the problem is as well that the development time is so quick. How are you supposed to, have next generation leaps? How are you supposed to have significant leaps between game for game? It's just, they aren't interested in doing that. I think the only one that I've seen that does look a bit like that is NBA 21, which they released some gameplay footage for, and that looks pretty incredible on PlayStation 5. But Madden was just such a bust.
Which means I get to work with the thousands of developers and creators around the
Sarah Bond. Do we know Sarah Bond, VJ? Is she new? I think she's new, isn't she, to the business?
Yeah, she seems pretty green to me.
Head of Xbox partnerships.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the right call, but there you have it.
Love games. And boy, have they been busy. They are creating right now games that are going to define the generation, experiences that are just going to blow your mind away.
Thousands of developers,
publisher worldwide is developing for Xbox.
Oh, you know what? I never had a Commodore 64.
Hundreds of games
Desirous. Never had one of those.
Series X in 2021. The support, it has just been tremendous, guys. I have never seen partners as excited about Xbox and Xbox Series X as they are right now. So I
was surprised by the amount of third-party titles there are on these lists. Obviously they're still keen at pushing the third party, aren't they? Despite having such a awesome first party.
Yeah. You mean for launch flap or just in general?
Just in general. So this is Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2, release date 2021.
I'm not very familiar with the series, so I can't really offer a real opinion, but I have heard comments about the previous game, and all have been in a positive light, so I am interested.
I thought the trailer was really good. This grabbed my attention.
The kind of the way the character's gonna look, like like with the mouth pulled apart there. That kind of reminds me of We Happy Few in a way. I don't know why.
No, exactly.
That's Luke in front of the Christmas tree.
Chat, have we all played Bloodlines? What's that like? I've not played Bloodlines myself, but I'm sure someone in the chat probably has. Give us an opinion.
Yeah, but I've played Bloodlines, and it's a really cool game. Actually, it's very much a cool classic, which was surprising. Why in terms of this game being announced. I mean, this was announced before the main showcase, but because people had wanted it for a long time, but just didn't expect it. And it's a bit it's kind of an action RPG, but a bit immersive sim as well at times. It's really cool, and this one looks very interesting. So
it does.
So is the first game a current gen title, or was it older than that?
Oh, it's older. I think the first game came out in like 2004.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so a long time ago.
So this is highly anticipated for people who love the first game then?
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody else, I think it's one of those that looks cool, but I think people need to... It's got a very kind of unique sense of humor, unique kind of presentation, so it's... it's kind of a bit Marmite, but it is quite beloved by a lot of people, including me. So.
Well, this is cross-gen, cross-platform, so PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Cool.
Just give me some very sort of slight vibes of Bioshock, and anything that does that for me, I've got to give it a go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Talking about Bioshock, I kind of got a similar vibe with this one as well, a little bit perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really intrigued for this.
Is this in Game Pass by any chance?
I don't know. Perhaps the chat can help us out there. So this is Call of the Sea by Out of the Blue. It is a December 2020 release, apparently. Here we go. Xbox Game Pass. Yes, it is. Fantastic.
I think IGN went hands-on with this the other day as well. I think there's a preview of it. Yeah, it looks wonderful.
I can see a Thieves vibes with the colours.
Yeah.
Yeah, expecting the ship to Korean around the corner.
Pirates leaping off.
Treasure chest. Yeah.
Extraordinary isle.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a game which I don't know if many people play called Firewatch.
I love Firewatch. Yeah.
Which was a fantastic game. And I'm pretty sure actually one of the voice actors is from Firewatch. In fact, I think the person who played Delilah in Firewatch is in the game.
Oh wow!
Doing another voice, and it kind of reminds me of that kind of really narrative-driven, interesting environment kind of experience. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game.
So next up, we have The Ascent.
This looks brilliant.
By Neon Giant.
This looks great.
Is this your sort of thing then, Luke?
Yeah, I love the look of this. I mean, this looks just marvelous. Just so impressive visually for such a small studio, and kind of that isometric view. And if they can introduce like a good loot game into this is absolutely 100% what I'm into. Like cyberpunk isometric with a good loot game, an action RPG. I'm absolutely all about that.
Yeah, the graphics look fantastic.
I'm seeing in the chat as well, everyone seems to be liking the look of this one.
Yeah, definitely. Apparently it's launching this year, so hopefully we won't have too long to wait.
Find out what happened.
Oh, delayed to 2021, SX2's just said. It shows you how out of date Google can be, if that's the case.
So it's basically like a Diablo game from what I can tell.
Yeah, it looks a very action RPG-ish.
At least from the camera perspective, yeah.
Yeah. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Fun speculation says
HDR,
on HDR would look fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's getting a thumbs up from the entire chat, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, big one. This is a big one. And we need to talk about this a little bit. So, Cyberpunk. getting pushed back to December the 10th, which is the launch day of this particular game.
It's a good thing this game's in Game Pass as a result.
I think the only thing they can do is to, if they don't want to go as toe to toe with Cyberpunk, then they're going to have to bring it forward a week. I was listening to you on Boom Show VJ.
Yeah,
it's a shame, isn't it? They must have been gutted, the Bloober team.
It just really depends if Cyberpunk hits or not, and I don't know if this. Do you know if this game's getting a physical release, the medium?
It will be. All of these games will be getting physical releases. Yeah.
I think this game, it's warranted a lot of focus. It's almost like being touted as a pseudo launch exclusive, and I'm just want to be careful of not setting the expectations too high for it. I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think it'll be for someone like me that doesn't play games continuously, that likes to switch in and out of games. So this and Cyberpunk might be a good mix up for me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. But Bloober are a good studio, but they're a little inconsistent for my taste. They do some really good stuff, and then so they did Observer, which was a great game. They also did Layers of Fear 1 and 2.
I loved the Layers of Fear games.
Actually, I wasn't a huge fan of those.
Oh, really? I love those.
Great. This one looks like definitely their most ambitious game. They've also got Akira Yamaoka doing the score for this, who is a Silent Hill composer. So they've definitely invested a lot into it, and I like the kind of this dual reality gameplay. I'm just a bit wary of Bloober, but having said that, it's in Game Pass, so it's
it's kind of home and dry at that point, isn't it? It's kind of safe.
Yeah.
But, as a percentage of people that own an Xbox and own Game Pass, there's still plenty of people that don't. So
yeah,
they are going to be relying on sales still.
Yeah. I think if it's in Game Pass, Flap, you've got no excuse not to play this game.
Yeah.
With an open heart, right, and an open mind.
So this is Scarlet Nexus, and I think it looks fantastic. What a fantastic looking game.
So if any Switch users out there, it reminds me of Astral Chain, which came out on the Switch.
Yeah.
Maybe.
In fact, I remember watching the main showcase, actually, Puxley, and thinking that immediately that this looked like Astral Chain.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing as soon as I saw it.
So this is a Bandai Namco. It's coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So basically everything.
Not my cup of tea, but every time I hear Bandai Namco, I just think, oh, finally they're going to reveal some more information and an in-depth look at Elden Ring. But nope, it's
you'll never get that, VJ. They just won't.
Like my lifetime, no doubt.
JRPGs are an acquired taste, aren't they? And they're not my taste, in all honesty. But like you say, I don't think this is coming to Game Pass. I might be wrong. It might have flashed up at the beginning, but. Yeah, if it's on Game Pass, then you'd be silly not to give it a go, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were saying before, like JRPGs are very hit and miss of me as well. There are some titles which I've played and I really love, and then others which are a bit too JRPG for me, if that makes sense.
They're big on the numbers, aren't they? Sometimes JRPGs.
Yeah. And sometimes I just like to smash the X button or whatever it is.
Yeah. Incrementally upgrading your swords and stuff.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can press X a fourth time and do another move. Yeah.
Chat, how is the tech holding up? Does the video look okay on the stream? I appreciate this is obviously not in 4K 60 glorious sharp definition, but it's more around us discussing the videos than showcasing them. Plenty of world premieres on the May one. Now this, I didn't realise. Apparently, this is already released on PC.
Oh, this is Second Extinction.
That's correct. Yeah, it's coming on consoles 2020 still. Apparently.
Yeah.
The chat's saying the video's good. Excellent.
I really don't know what to make of this, to be honest.
I thought it was like Dino Crisis meets Turok.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's very Turok.
But that's
very
not a
cool.
bad thing, though, is it, VJ? I mean, surely that makes it a good thing.
I'll tell you flat. What really interested me, and I hope I've got this right, is that it's 3-player co-op. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's cool. Well, we'll be online. We'll play with you then, mate.
Oh no, please, I'm rubbish.
That's all right.
Just as long as you look after me, I'm in.
I do find it bizarre though what you just said there about 3-player. Why not 4-player?
There's a lot of that going on, isn't there? Yeah, they're trios in Warzone and stuff, didn't they? For a little while?
Gears 5 did a 3-player this time around as well, which I thought was a bit bizarre, but
Yeah,
it's
it
kind
is
of
isn't it?
a story narrative thing, I think.
This looks actually pretty good if it's in Game Pass.
This is Yakuza Like a Dragon. It is in Game Pass.
Yakuza Like a Dragon. Now, Flap, I have to be honest with you. This is one of my most favourite games and anticipated games I'm looking forward to. I played the recent Judgment game, which was absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
But I can't find any official blog from Xbox or Sega saying that this is in Game Pass. And I did ask,
no, it's definitely on Game Pass. Definitely.
Right.
I'll dig out some links for you.
Yeah, please, because I asked some people in the community and I kept getting mixed answers, and I was like, uh-oh.
To be honest, what I probably really need to do is rewind this video to the beginning, because it normally says whether they're in Game Pass on there. But
Right. Yeah, I love these games.
Pong Soul saying no Game Pass. You're right. I really thought this was on Game Pass.
Me too.
Because the others are.
Yeah.
Oh look, yeah, SX2 says Like a Dragon isn't. Well, perhaps that's timed. Perhaps it will be. Perhaps it's just not a day one.
Yeah, but I'm going to be playing this day one or close to it. Flat, definitely. I played the others. I played Judgment, and ever since Shenmue, I've just got engrossed in these kind of games. It's absolutely fantastic.
This is a launch exclusive for Xbox. The PS5 version is apparently coming in March 2021.
That's correct. Yeah.
All things being even, you can never sort of gauge exactly what's going to go on. UK's just gone back into lockdown for a month, by the way. So
I just can't get over Luke's excitement for this game.
I still need to play Judgment, VJ. I can't be playing any of these other games until I play
Kick him
Judgment.
off the show.
The weird thing is, like, the Yakuza series is like really up my alley, and really up my alley. But I've just never sat down and played like many of them on a consistent basis, and I need to change that going into this game, I think.
Fun speculation raises a good point. We just expect everything to be in Game Pass, and we are a little bit spoilt now, aren't we?
No, not spoiled enough. Fun. What are you talking about?
We'd be spoiled if this was coming to Game Pass.
Well, Dragon Wolf, we've got the July showcase coming up next, so stay tuned, my friend. We'll go all through that. Now, this was the strange thing, wasn't it? We've got a little bit of blurb now. I'll just turn him down while we're here. Now, this was obviously touted as a Assassin's Creed Valhalla first gameplay video.
Yeah, but it wasn't, was it?
This is very disappointing.
Xbox took a lot of fire for this, and I kind of understand and appreciate why, because there's no way on earth this is gameplay footage, is it? But I will say that since we've seen the gameplay footage, it looks phenomenal. I'm really excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's going to be my day one purchase.
Inside look.
It was interesting, Flap. I remember on a previous show you mentioned that there was some footage that you'd seen, and we were looking at it. And, you weren't sure if it was high-end PC, but it looks outstanding. Did you ever manage to find out?
Yes, only that was that was confirmed on Series X.
And to you at home.
Wow.
Behind the scenes with a few.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Assassin's Creed games. I really enjoyed Black Flag.
Yes, I did. I loved that. It's probably my favorite, actually.
Yeah, for me, and I was interesting up until the point. I guess the creative director on that was on this, and that's what piqued my interest for it.
And this is unfortunately what we were greeted with. Yeah, you're right. People did blow this out of proportion.
I think the thing is, though, it's frustrating when you hear gameplay and then you see this trailer and it's quite obviously not. And not only that, but you had to wait the entire showcase to see this. That is really quite annoying. And to be fair, Ubisoft always do for the last few AC games. They always do this thing where they have some sort of CG or non-CG announcement, and then follow it up with what they call a gameplay trailer, which is exactly this, and then follow that up with what is actually proper gameplay. But it's still frustrating, I think, when you hear that, and it's just.
Well, Ubisoft have also got a history or tradition of downgrading their games as well come launch, but it looks like the opposite's happened this time. Thank God.
Yeah, pleasant surprise actually, because the last that 9-minute kind of in-depth gameplay looks hugely improved from the last time they showed it. So,
chat, is this a day one for you, Valhalla? Are you guys stoked for this?
I've got a question for you, Flap. Actually,
Go for it.
Is this a day one purchase for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Even without seeing reviews and stuff.
Yeah. I do like Assassin's Creed games. And
you find them overwhelming?
Not really. No, I quite like that aspect of them. To be honest, they are getting slightly more overwhelming. I'm not really sure. Oh, I'm going around again. I didn't mean to. I'm not really sure how this one plays out in terms of RPG aspects and stuff. But it'd be interesting to find out. But that's a day one purchase for me.
I'll chime in as well with Assassin's Creed, actually, because I just want to answer that as well, because I would like to know what the chat thinks on this, because I was an Assassin's Creed fan from day one, from the very first game, playing obviously 2 and 3. But obviously the main story was obviously about, got the kind of the modern world of the character was called Desmond Miles, I believe. And it was all kind of linked with him, and obviously the assassins were like his ancestors from obviously eons ago. But the newer games kind of don't seem to touch on the real world aspect anymore, unless I'm missing something. Maybe chat can enlighten me if I am. But I just find it a bit bizarre that, I mean, I like Assassin's Creed games, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to buy this one. But I just kind of wonder if, where's the real story in it now, apart from just kind of being...
They still do the modern day stuff, but they have a new protagonist called Layla Hassan now, and because essentially it's strange, but the modern day stuff has kind of taken a back seat just to the historic elements now, because I think most people weren't that interested in the modern day stuff after kind of Desmond was kind of written away.
No, fair enough. I think it's a shame, really, because I like how it all kind of intertwined. But no, fair enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the Desmond stuff as well, and it was quite interesting. But they've just kind of gone all over the place with it now.
Nah, fair play.
But yeah, the main showcase was an interesting one because watching it back, there's some really good stuff in there, but I still maintain it was just the completely wrong time to do that showcase because if you're going to Xbox were the first out of the gate really with kind of here's our next gen stuff or here's some next gen stuff, and if you're going to do that, I don't think that was the way to do it because it immediately set them on the back foot because people just had they done the July showcase first and then what ended up being the May showcase afterwards, I think it would have landed a lot better. But because that was the first thing everyone saw, myself included, I was quite frustrated in it because it was just not that wow moment I think that people were looking for. But in hindsight, still had some really good stuff.
See, this AC, the Assassin's Creed, this sort of new RPG element, it really does split people down the middle. Some people love it, and like yourself, Luke and Pux was saying, they prefer the older style. But they really have kind of diverged from where they were. And like you say, some people like it, some people don't. But
correct me if I'm wrong here. I mean, I didn't play Origins or Odyssey, because there was a big thing about Valhalla that they're bringing back the hidden blade or the dual hidden blades, and I was a bit like, they removed it? Did I miss this? Because I didn't play Origins or Odyssey, so I found it surprising that they removed what I think is a key thing of being an assassin. But
well, chat, thank you very much for being here. I hope this is kind of working. Like I say, we wanted to carry on and build the hype up to launch. We could be talking about all of the sort of topics, but I thought we'd try something slightly different for tonight's show, guys. So I hope you're enjoying it. We do have 2 very special shows coming up next week. So next Sunday, we will be saying goodbye to the Xbox One generation and era, and we'll be going over some stories around that whole sort of generation and what it meant to us, and some of the good points and some of the bad points. And on the Monday after, on the 9th of November, we've got our special Next Gen Eve show, and we've got something special lined up for there. We've got lots of 3-month Game Pass Ultimate to give away, so we'd love to see you there. It's going to be a great show. We've got some people from some of our followers actually on the show. I think we've got about 6 or 7 people coming on, so it's just going to be a bit of a roundhouse chat. It's not going to be sort of topic after topic. It's just going to be us all getting together and just discussing, the excitement for the new console and what's all happening for us the day after with our brand new consoles in our hands. So really excited for that show. But
just to clarify, those giveaways are next week's Sunday show, correct?
I don't know. We might do them on the Monday show. Good point, Pux. Don't know. I will tweet out when we're giving those away. Yeah, don't know. So yeah, thanks, Luke and VJ. That was May, and like you say, it kind of had its ups and downs. The May showcase, and well, we were left sort of hungry for more, really. And that's where the sort of July showcase sort of stepped into the mark. So let's crack on with this one if we can. And straight away we go headlong into what could be a controversial subject. I was really excited for this show. And it was obviously touted that we were going to see the sort of first gameplay footage of Halo Infinite, and I think it had everyone excited at this point.
I love seeing this countdown as well. It's like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah, we were actually live chatting while this was happening, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. The show that inspired Green Pass Gaming itself.
Pretty much, yeah. It didn't take us long to work out that this was the Halo universe. So let's talk about the elephant in the room then, gentlemen. Halo's had a bit of a rocky road, hasn't it? Kind of starting at this point, perhaps a little bit before with some studio heads and some staffing issues. But yeah, this was kind of what kicked off the whole sort of negativity around Halo Infinite and stuff, because I think most people were still hyped at this point. And to be honest, we all still are. Let's not blow this out of proportion. But do you think that this sort of game has been tarnished slightly with what's happened over the last couple of months, or do you think it's absolutely still on track in everyone's minds? Luke, where do you pitch Halo Infinite?
I think it's really difficult to know how this is going to land when it does land. This presentation in particular, everybody was looking forward to seeing this game, myself included. Halo is one of my favorite franchises ever, and the original Halo particularly. And I watched this and I was really disappointed in it. And I think the reason I was disappointed in it was because, if you go and have a look back at that 2018 Slipspace demo, it gives promise of something that kind of marries with the budget that we've heard about for this game. Something really impressive visually.
Yeah.
And it really didn't deliver that at all. And I don't just mean in terms of kind of a next gen wow moment. Halo Infinite in this gameplay demo doesn't look as good as other open world games this generation. Off the back of playing something like around the time, playing Ghost of Tsushima, as VJ was talking about, like it just doesn't even compare. And it just kind of stuck in my mind as like, what has happened? Like, how has this money been spent? And this
so have they got to try even harder to overcome your initial opinion of it then, or do they just carry on doing what they were doing anyway?
I think at this point they can't rewrite the game, right? You can't introduce things that will fundamentally change how this works or how it looks. It will certainly look a lot better, and that will be good enough. But I think they just have to deliver, for me, like a really good story, and and hopefully just a better presentation in general. And I think that will be enough for me, but I don't know if there'll be enough for people who aren't that big into Halo.
You don't get to tell me anything.
Do you think this is taken some damage, VJ, that needs to be clawed back? Or, the chat seems to be very much, things are what they are. Halo will be fantastic. And I kind of agree. I mean, it kind of has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that Halo is just one of those IPs that just comes out once in a generation, and it really pretty much was once in a generation. That smacks you on the forehead. It had everything, right? And I don't think it's the IP. It's not necessarily the talent in the studio. I covered this extensively on Boone's show on Thursday. The fundamental issue in the management and how the game was led. You only have to go and look at the bios of the people in charge. They are not creatively led people. They are people that have been in the game far too long. They got their ways and methods and means to produce games, and it's just hasn't evolved and Halo's proof of that. There's nothing wrong with the IP. It is a game that I believe that should have blown this away, and my anticipation was, well, they spent a lot of money on it. I don't think they spent the whole 500 million. I think that was the project, the amount of money that they had planned for the project over a period of time, over a number of formats, and probably marketing and PR as well. I don't think Microsoft are that insane. And it just didn't blow me away, because my anticipation was, well, I hope it reaches somewhere in the realms of what the Unreal Engine 5 demo showed us for the PS5, especially with Microsoft touting, VRS and all these other things that it can do. And it didn't show me any of it. Right, and that was the biggest disappointment, because we know that the game and graphics and visuals and maybe gameplay tweaks and balancing, all of that can be fixed. But in terms of the Xbox, in terms of power and everything that they were touting in terms of the USPs, just I think made me feel incredibly flat. And look, at the end of the day, as we've been saying for the other guy, it's going to be in Game Pass. I think they need to make sure it's good. And but my only concern is just recently, and I may have this wrong, Flap, so please forgive me, is that I'm seeing stuff about microtransactions being introduced as well into the game. So I don't know what it's all about entirely, to be honest with you, but maybe that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, no, and to be honest, you're right. I think that's one that we'll probably pick up nearer the time, perhaps. But Wakanda XNT mentioned that he'd heard, and I have too, that actually the single-player campaign is actually finished. It's just polishing and bug sorting and stuff now. So
I think that's an important a point you raised there, because I know that Chris is gone. I know that Joseph Stanton's come. Is it Joseph Stanton?
Yep.
Accused with Joseph Stanton. Is the fact that he's predominantly a writer, and it kind of worried me that they brought him back on.
Yeah.
He's a writer. It made me worry that is the single player campaign mode in a bit of disarray, as in they've had to bring a writer back. I don't know what other skill sets he's got, but obviously that was a concern. If he's back and he's improving it, and they can sort out the cutscenes and refer the story and the campaign, then that's great.
Well, exactly. You'd assume the writing's done by now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I hope they bring Craig in as a playable character or something, because Xbox, I think they absolutely will. If I'm honest, I think Craig as a playable character would just be another middle finger to the haters out there.
I think that's a question you should raise to Puxley.
Pux, would you play as Craig? If you
100%. Why would you?
Wouldn't you?
Oh, of course I would. Yeah.
And we saw what Microsoft did with the fridges and stuff, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic. It made me laugh so much. It's just brilliant. It's just the biggest middle finger you could do to the haters, and it was just awesome.
I just want to add on what VJ was saying, actually, because I'm kind of with VJ in that when I saw this demo, it didn't blow me away, but that's not anything to do with the whole graphical stuff, because to be fair, I didn't even notice any graphical glitches or everything else during the actual live demo. It wasn't until I read all the stories about it that I went back and watched it. It was just like, oh yeah, it's a bit of popping here and there, but again, it's a demo alpha or beta build, whatever. It's not done yet. Stop worrying people, But
and if the rumors are true and the campaign is technically finished, then obviously it's pretty well advanced in development. But graphically, it seems to be the engine that's kind of letting them down potentially.
SX2 said something in the chat. Got to remember the multiplayer was announced as being free to play after this is released, so microtransactions are inevitable. But my point to that would be, what's really worrying me about the project and the product planning going forward for marketing, PR, and everything else is it kind of slightly seems to me that it's being made up as they go along, and they haven't changed their approach midway through, which doesn't sort of fill me with confidence in terms of the roadmap. That's completely distinctly different from how the game plays, right? It's the management of the product itself, how they're having to shift, move, pivot, change, and that's a little alarming at this late stage in the game.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, if you're going to monetize an IP, then it needs to be a big IP that will sell and lots of people have got interest in. And, that's going to disappoint a lot of people potentially. And there was they're not called skins, are they? What are they called? I can't remember what they're called now.
Are they called shaders or something?
No, it wasn't shaders. It was something else. Chat, help us out. But it's like you kind of had to collect them. And you wasn't necessarily going to you don't get the whole armor, you get parts of your armor. So you could sort of end up with weird and wonderful kind of creations depending on what it is that you kind of got out of these packages almost. But
I wish I could tell you it was difficult.
Coatings, thank you. That's it, coatings.
We are one step ahead. Always. The ring is already under our control.
I must admit, this I did notice the mist popping in Pux on the mountains when he went up in the lift. I did notice that live, but this kind of disappointed me because I was expecting Senua's Saga kind of level of graphics.
I've just seen some people in the chat say the same thing, and I kind of have to agree. Like, if this is a next-gen showcase, as you said, I think we mentioned it when we watched this for the very first time. It looks like almost 2014 level style.
Yeah.
Facial graphics, if that makes sense. No, that's a bad thing, but for what's meant to be a next-gen showcase, it's not the best start, which I can understand why people would have issues with it.
Yeah, I think as I said, like, it wasn't just that it didn't wow you in terms of looking at it as a next-gen showcase, but it didn't even. I mean, for me, it didn't even wow me as a current-gen game at all. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's quite. And like they're doing 60 FPS, right? So there are sacrifices they need to make when they're beholden to original Xbox One hardware as well to get that working, but it just didn't look good. It just didn't look good at all.
He's mad, isn't he?
Steady on, Luke. That's a bit below the belt.
It's true. I will say that the gameplay looks fantastic. So
yes, I agree.
No issue there at all. Like no problems at all in that sense. I'm sure it will be a blast to play, but just as a first showcase, it wasn't good.
Well,
in my opinion.
Again, if the single player's finished and the campaign's finished, I can't imagine they're going to wait till November next year to release it, unless they're going to polish the bejesus out of it.
At Halo Infinite's campaign. I'm incredibly proud.
Oh dear.
Bye, Chris.
Yeah.
You need to scribble this part out.
Yeah. On the next chapter of Master Chief's journey. This is the most ambitious campaign we've ever created at 343. For the first time, players will have the freedom to explore a mysterious new Halo ring that's several times larger than our
It's an interesting take on a well-established franchise, isn't it?
Full advantage of Xbox Series.
Well, newer games seem to be wanting to go open world now, so I guess it makes sense from a next-gen perspective. How can we change Halo? Oh, I know, we won't make it linear anymore. We'll make it wherever you want.
I agree, and there's been speculation whether Chris Lee has actually been the problem. I doubt it comes down to one person, but
no, it doesn't. I think he's, and I said it on Bloom, he's put in place. He's worked with Sony for a long time. She's put him in place because she can manage and control him, and she knows what to expect, and with no surprises. But unfortunately, it was the wrong pick for something so ambitious. But that's just how the corporate game is played. It's very political and higher management up in any sort of company, let alone game studios.
Now, this really impressed me, actually, until I realised what it was. And then I was kind of thinking, because, this is State of Decay 3, and I know the first couple of games, don't come anywhere close to this graphically. So I was thinking, is this just one of those sort of CGIs just to show it off? But apparently, it is targeting this kind of level of fidelity. I mean, that would be phenomenal if that's the case.
I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Flat, because what it does is people are complaining this and that and the other, but what you get from a trailer is intent. And I think that's what you should be looking at, the developer's intent compared to what they've done before. And I know they've had different publishers, but I'm really happy that Xbox has stepped in to give these guys a chance to evolve, because no studio comes out of the gate with a AAA game. It takes one, two, maybe 3 games until they really find their feet. Look at Witcher 1, 2, and 3. The how that's
yeah, exactly that. Chat, have we got any State of Decay fans in the chat? Let us know.
Without being disrespectful to Undead Labs, I would be frankly astounded if they could match this level of fidelity. I mean, this is a CG trailer. If they could get anywhere close to this, it would be given their backdrop, it would be remarkable.
Yeah, I think the ability to create. I mean, I don't know if this is done in house or if this has been outsourced.
I think that was outsourced. That trailer.
Sorry.
I think that trailer, the State of Decay trailer, was outsourced.
Yeah,
and I think the same studio made the Fable trailer at the end as well.
It would be interesting to see where they can take that. Like we were saying, with Xbox money and the back in, it makes you wonder.
5 new first-party games.
Yeah.
What you will see today is how Xbox game studios are harnessing.
There's Phil in his Halo Infinite T-shirt and all of the Halo Infinite marketing. I really do feel for the entire.
It kind of says Halo Finite at the moment. So.
I never noticed that.
I hope it didn't say finito.
Yeah, if he lifts up his left lapel, there's no under there. Oh god. Obviously all of the Halo marketing and stuff. But I think Phil a long time ago was considering that the Xbox might have to launch without Halo. I think there were problems that long ago potentially. Because I think he came out a little while ago, didn't he, saying that they would launch without Halo, and that's obviously been discussed at that point, probably, to some depth. Because that's not a decision you make lightly, particularly after you've made all of your marketing deals with various partners.
Sometimes I think Phil Spencer should have his own platformer with this outfit on.
Now this is an interesting one, isn't it? Forza Motorsport. It's not Forza Motorsport 8, and there are some rumours that this may be a little bit of a microtransaction game where they kind of just sort of update it year on year.
Are you serious?
There's been rumours of that. No one knows, to be honest. But I think the fact that it's not called Motorsport 8 has got people a little bit concerned around that.
I think it looks like they're going for kind of this game as a platform on which to build.
Service. Another service.
Yeah, another service. Which, in the context of a racing game, I don't actually think that's a bad idea. I don't think that's particularly egregious, but we'd have to see, I suppose, on what exactly that model looks like when the game comes out.
I agree.
Luke, I've got a question for you, being a PC gamer, and I don't know how many racing games you play, but does ray tracing, is it just more, this gen, is it just more buzzwords and people just like to see what it looks like on and off, or does it really enhance your experience? On certain games, I'm bearing in mind we're in early days of ray tracing, right? But on certain games, it's very transformative. So Metro Exodus and Control are two that have, that look incredible with it on. But it is incredibly demanding, like even on high-end rigs, and I think people need to, especially with the consoles, this applies to both consoles, be mindful that 4K 60 ray tracing outside of maybe a few games is not going to be common, and even where there is ray tracing, it's not going to be fully path trace scenes or complete full reflections everywhere. It's good. There's limits to all of this, right? And so people just have to bear that in mind.
Pux, you're interested in this one?
Oh, I love the look of this game. I'm a big fan of Sea of Thieves, and this game just. Even though I don't know what it is, I don't know. Because I know it's made by Rare, and I love the colours, I love the style, and I can't help but feel it's going to be Sea of Thieves, but in this kind of fantasy world with all these different creatures and mountains to explore. I'm almost kind of maybe picturing a Sea of Thieves style Zelda Breath of the Wild that's up to 4-player co-op.
Kind of reminds me of a next gen Black and White, like that kind of like God game.
I do.
And I think it looks. I mean, who knows what you actually do, but it certainly is a beautiful game.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to know what this is about. I literally couldn't find anything. I think all I found was introducing Everwild, a brand new IP from Rare, unique and unforgettable experiences await in a natural and magical world. That's literally pretty much all I could find on it. They've been very tight-lipped about this.
And some I've just in the chat as well, actually. Sorry, VJ. That someone's saying, "Oh, one of the creative directors have left, and is it in trouble?" And I think the official announcement is, no, the game is still in good hands. But as you say, because we don't know anything about it, and we've not seen much about it, I mean, who's to know, really? I guess.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, for me, it inherently looks like a game pitch trailer presented as an internal green light to an internal green light committee at Xbox. It's a decent art style, but worrisome that there's not much else going on at the moment that we're aware of. But I did see a YouTube video. I think it was on the Rare channel. I'd advise you guys to go check it out, where the creative director and the producer, who's also creatively led, talk about Everwild in a roundabout way. But from listening to both of those, I think it's in very good hands. That's just
I was about to say that Rare is a safe pair of hands, isn't it? Surely. Their pedigree's pretty good, isn't it?
It was, and I think they're rebuilding. They've been out in the wilderness for a while, but I'll definitely recommend you guys to, if you're interested in the game, go and check out the Rare YouTube channel and watch the videos surrounding this game and this lady and the art director both talking about this game extensively.
That's worrying, isn't it? I hear this a lot. They're still figuring out what it's going to be. That surely you don't start a game and work out what it's going to be, halfway through development, surely.
Yeah, I think they may have had some idea for it, but then, obviously for whatever reason they've been given the green light. But you know what, Flap? I've got this funny feeling it might be an episodic sort of game.
Okay. Well, talking of episodic, tell me why. Has anyone in the chat completed Tell Me Why? I got halfway through the first one and I kind of lost a little bit of interest, if I'm completely honest.
I'm not too into these types of games, so even though I enjoyed this, I wasn't. Even though it's on Game Pass, I know I could have jumped in, and maybe I still will. But I just wasn't interested in trying it out. It's just not my kind of game I want to play, personally.
Graphically, it looks very good. It's a little bit clunky on the controls and stuff, as these games, are sometimes.
Is this co-op by any chance, this game?
No.
But isn't it interesting? All of the games we've looked at, we're not so worried about gameplay. Everything right now seems to hinge around being. We really hope that the narrative is good, and I think that is that's going to be really important. I think for this gen it was, and I think it's going to be even more so for next gen. I think narrative is going to be key.
Yeah, so, the medium is a story-driven medium, isn't it? In general, for lots of games. So this got 78 on Metacritic, Steam 9 out of 10. So it was fairly well received.
I'm seeing a bit mixed reaction in the chat though. Some people are saying that it's a great story, really emotional, and enjoyed it, and other people saying they didn't quite get on with it. So. It seems to have a mixed reaction in the chat, at least.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Marmite game, isn't it, as far as I'm concerned? Yeah. Fuckley's finished all 3 chapters. Let's just stick this up. 32 outcomes. Oh, wow. Okay. A lot of games are doing that, aren't they? Multiple endings isn't anything new, but that level of multiple endings kind of is.
Yeah, whenever I see games like this, Flap, it takes my mind back to a game I really enjoyed, which was Detroit Become Human.
Oh, funny you should mention that. We've got a developer from who made that? I can't remember who made that.
Quantic Dream?
Quantic Dream coming up later, yeah. So it's fairly well received. That's obviously Don't Nod Entertainment that did that. Now, this is an add-on to a game that's already
I'm the co-founder
developed.
and director of technology at Moon Studios. Today, we're very excited to tell you that we're.
Oh no, sorry, I missed this one. Oh, this is
one step ahead, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Will of the Wisps.
Now, I've actually played this at 120 frames a second on my TV via my PC, and it's a fantastic experience. It really is.
An already gorgeous game like Ori can now run at 120 hertz.
I need to jump back into this. This is just because of time when it all first came out. I didn't have much time when it first released to really jump into it. So I've never actually finished the game or really got into it too much. So I'm definitely going to have to jump onto this again.
You'll love it.
It's exactly my game, yeah.
It's a fantastic game. Cerebral Paul, yeah, it's kind of saying we say in the UK, Marmite, you either love it or hate it.
What's your take on this, Luke?
that we previously
It's going to be a great experience for people who get to play at 120 FPS because like Flap, I played it at that level, and it's actually both beautiful and helpful in the context of this game to play it as higher frame rate as possible, because it is, there are some difficult platforming moments, so it actually does help you in terms of your reaction time. So and it's just a brilliant game. I mean, it's a brilliant game.
Right, this is the one I skipped to accidentally. This is the Outer Worlds and Peril on Gargon. Have you played this, Luke? I downloaded the DLC, but I've not really completed it. I really liked Outer Worlds as a game.
Yeah, I really like Outer Worlds. I actually haven't completed the base game, but I played quite a lot of it. It's one of those that's dropped onto the eternal backlog, probably never to be revisited unless I really get hang of it. But it's a great game, and I heard this was actually really good for DLC. So,
chat, how do we feel about the Outer Worlds? Because this is the first of 3 Obsidian games showcased in the July showcase, as I'm sure you can guess the other 2. But yeah, this was obviously a DLC that's obviously currently available now on all platforms as well. This is one of the games that sort of spanned all of the platforms, even the Switch. I think it's just had a bit of an update actually on the Switch, hasn't it, to make it run a little bit better.
I think there's a second DLC coming out, right, as well?
Oh, is there? I'm not aware of that.
I thought they were making 2, but I could be wrong on that.
So that's already out. Like I say, I've already put probably at least an hour into that. It's kind of okay. Now this next one's interested. This is Grounded, and again, is this another platform or a sort of game service? Because is there going to be microtransactions in this? What do we think the end goal of Grounded is? Any ideas, VJ?
6 foot under.
You reckon? You don't think it's going to last?
That was just me being polite and saying it's not my cup of tea. Sorry.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to last? I mean, there's a lot of scope for sort of building games and this sort of thing. It's done very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When you say it's done really well, I don't know what that means in terms of commercial or just the number of players and what the players are today, how they're keeping it. I have no idea. It's really difficult to offer an opinion. But,
well, it's actually still in early sort of preview, believe it or not. And they're sort of up. They're releasing patches. I think the latest patch was 0.3.3, and that came out on the 19th of October. But it's constantly being updated. Luke, Pux, have you had a dabble in this yet?
Yeah, I played a fair few hours of it on PC when it came out, actually, and it actually surprised me.
Did you lose a bet?
I won a bet because I got to enjoy this game, VJ. It's quite good actually, but it needs a lot more content. It's really early access at the moment in terms of the amount of content that's involved in it. So I think long term, they just need to do a Sea of Thieves on it and just pump as much new stuff into it as they can.
Pux, that's your kind of game, isn't it?
I don't know. I've not played it, to be fair. I haven't jumped into it. I haven't given myself the time to. But I have read what basically Luke just said, really, about not really much content. It's a bit bare bones, which that's fine. I mean, it's early access after all, and it's going to take time. But I do think for it to survive, yes, if that's the case, it does need to have that content there. But again, it's competing against the likes of Minecraft, from what I could tell from that trailer, and other kind of building survival games. There's so many more that exist. So would it survive? I really don't know. But I know what's coming up next.
Yes, indeed. This was what everyone wanted, isn't it? Out of Obsidian, I think. I just hope they're not spreading themselves a bit too thin.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there, Flat. It's not a huge studio.
No, I want all of their bloody efforts and attention focused on this game, if I'm honest. As much as I love Grounded, but...
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you were a big fan of Grounded. Sorry.
Not a big fan, but I liked it. It's definitely a good, intriguing little game. But I would rather, like I say, them focus their. I think I was probably tarnished by a slow-mo backslaps review of Grounded. Really put me off. Okay. So apparently this is going to be much bigger than Skyrim. It's going to be more denser and more contrasted.
Is that from Obsidian themselves or a rumor?
That was from Obsidian themselves, yes. Looks very Elder Scrolls.
It's going to be larger than Skyrim, but more dense.
And will also be denser and more contrasted.
Hopefully, been contrasted in terms of environments.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a strange sort of phrase to use, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's set in the Pillars of Eternity world.
Yes. Which I'm not familiar with, actually.
Yeah, that's a fantastic lore background. It's really cool. So I think it's probably going to take a while, that game. I suspect it's really ambitious. Interesting as well that they've made their Skyrim just as the actual creators of Skyrim starts coming on board. So
I thought it was quite a long way into development and was the reason that Microsoft actually bought Obsidian.
I don't think so. I think it's a few years away.
I think Obsidian is one of those really strange studios that has numerous pots and pans sizzling and lots of really good creative ideas and lots of little documents. I think it just gives me that vibe that they're very much a creative studio, just waiting to be given a chance to work on a number of projects that they've probably got cooking and
Well, Grounded was a little pet project, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's great to see that they've been given the time and effort to do that.
Absolutely.
There we go. Caroline Marshall. She formerly worked at Quantic Dreams. So this game is called As Dusk Falls. Can we remember this?
Oh, this is like the 2D art painting thing.
Yeah, I thought this looked quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, Interior Night is a new studio based in London. And she's a veteran game developer who previously worked at Quantic Dream. Yeah, and they obviously specialised in interactive drama type games. This is an Xbox exclusive. Don't know if it's timed. Yeah, I thought the artwork, and I've said this a few times, reminded me of the artwork at the very beginning of GTA 6, where you kind of get that sort of... You'll see what I mean, perhaps. I hope I'm not going mad. GTA 6, sorry, yeah. 5, GTA 5, sorry.
I was going to question you then.
Yeah, sorry.
Everyone's waiting for 6, I think.
Yeah.
We were on our way to start a new life that summer. For our family, it was just a stopover.
Guys, had you remembered this one? Because this was one of the ones I'd forgotten, in all honesty, and I think it looks quite good. Hopefully it's Game Pass. Definitely check it out. Yeah, Indy's up for it.
I believe everything in the July showcase was for Game Pass, right?
Was it fate?
Yes, that's a good point, actually.
Coincidence? No.
Yeah, same here. SX2.
Buried in the dark.
All my life, I've been scared.
Yeah, there we go.
But now,
graphically, it looks very pretty, doesn't it? Very appealing. But again, if it's in Game Pass, then surely you're going to check it out, unless it tanks in the reviews, which I guess it could, but it's unlikely.
The artwork's really good, but I also like the 3D and 2D aspects to it as well.
I do.
Really brings it open.
Yeah. I think reviews again, flat, are very subjective. I've found numerous games that have had not so great reviews, and I thought, who the hell reviewed this game? Anyway, we're on to this next game.
Oh, don't talk to me about this bloody game. I was so excited to see the next trailer for this, and it just didn't turn up.
I really dislike this bit.
I was on a Boom's channel, and I just take this with a pinch of salt, flat. And if Boom was saying that he knows that the trailer, or he's been told by a very good, reliable source, that the Hellblade 2 trailer, 2-minute trailer, has been completed.
Oh,
just a matter of when they show it.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's been around a little while. That rumor, actually. I think they're just choosing their moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, when Boom says it, then I kind of take notice. I know that a lot of rumors go around. It's just particularly because it came from him.
No, he chats with Chloe Brill and people that are very respected when it comes to leaks and information.
I mean, we're coming up to the I suppose, 1 year announcement anniversary.
Yeah, we are actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
2, so maybe we'll.
Yeah, we first saw this 11 months ago, nearly.
Yeah, but this segment in the show is just shocking. Like, just I don't. If you don't have anything to show on it, just don't have a segment for the game because it's just disappointing.
I had a bit of free time, and there's a 30 video making of Hellblade. I don't know if anyone's seen it.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one. There's like a 35-minute videos. I actually sat through them all just recently. It was very, very interesting.
This looks fantastic.
Oh, this is your sort of thing, isn't it, Pux?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, I haven't played the original, which has obviously this mad cult following. I think it's on the original Xbox, right? It was only released. Yeah.
One of my favorite games on that console. It's
unfortunately, I didn't have the original Xbox, unfortunately, so I never got the opportunity. But I'll definitely dive into this one.
Yeah, Double Fine, just brilliant, just totally brilliant.
Is it Brutal Legend? I think that's just come to Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah, which I like.
I'd never played that before, and I started playing it. It's actually a fun game. I quite enjoyed it.
It's great, although the only thing with Brutal Legend is once you get into the game, it actually becomes this kind of odd real-time tactical game. And
really? I've not got that far in.
It's really bizarre, yeah. So you play the intro bit. It's this great action game, like this really cool action platformer type game, and then it just kind of changes. It's very strange. It's still great. It's just very strange.
I even liked that they had Jack Black here actually do part of the soundtrack. I'm a big Tenacious D fan. I've seen Tenacious D live a number of times, and I think the singing is just fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. It's really psychedelic, isn't it? It kind of reminds me of the Beatles during their kind of experimental years, shall we say? But you're a platformer at heart, aren't you, Pux?
Oh, 100%, yeah. It's probably my number one go-to genre if I had to pick only one.
I think the release date is still unknown at this point, unless you can correct me, chat. I did try looking it up. It didn't really have a definitive release date. I'm guessing 2021. It would have to be, surely.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come this year, but they just delayed it. And I think one of the reasons they delayed it actually was that they said that because of obviously being acquired, they've got an increased budget to actually go back and they had to cut some bosses, for example, that they can now put back in the game and work on and stuff. So it's just
that's cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's coming to Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PC, Linux, and Mac operating systems. I don't know how true that is. Got that off of Google. Didn't mention Xbox One, strangely enough, although it does say PS4. It's got to be coming to Xbox One, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't put too much faith. It's created in Unreal 4 as well, apparently. It's got quite a lot of screen time, actually, didn't it? More than I was expecting. I'm guessing Jack Black kind of helps drive that.
Yeah.
I guess they need to let him finish his song, I guess.
Yeah, I could cut him off halfway through. X2's raised a good point. You know, we've had quite a lot of chat around, you know, the Microsoft money that they can pump into these studios. I'm guessing, VJ, that unfortunately, you know, having a huge bankroll doesn't necessarily guarantee success. Unfortunately, you know, there's a lot more to it than just that.
No, I think that some of the studios are sensible enough just to know. I think just what you were saying earlier, that some games are having content added back, having the production values increased a little bit. They've got to be of a certain standard, and I think that standard just needs to continually grow. And do you know what I mean? As Game Pass evolves, and I think that's going to be important to manage going forward. And this all goes all the way back to management and their vision.
To bring you the broadest variety of games.
Well, here we have Sarah Bond again, and she was.
Sorry.
What is she? She is the head of Xbox partnerships. So yeah, Destiny 2, Beyond Light. Now, I've not really played Destiny 2 hardly at all. I'm actually looking forward to it on the Series X, running at 60 frames per second, if I'm honest, because apparently once you've played it in 60 frames, you'll never go back to 30. So I'm kind of saving it for there.
Would you say that's true for most shooters?
Definitely shooters. Yeah, without a doubt.
For Destiny 2, I actually downloaded this because they've got the whole crossplay thing now. So I downloaded it on the One X the other day, and I turned it off in 5 minutes because at 30, having played it at 60 and then 144, it's
a game changer.
Yeah, it's horrible to go back to 30.
Actually, to answer one of your questions earlier, I was playing Wolfenstein Youngblood with ray tracing on, and it's one of those things that you do notice, VJ. You will notice it on the new systems, and you won't want to go back. You won't want to be without it once you've had it.
Yeah, it's just that there's I do go back and play older games, and I'm just wondering how they're going to feel when I want to go back and play older games that are at 30 that haven't been patched for 60.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But Microsoft are at least trying to sort of upscale some of those, aren't they? Frame rate wise, from either 30 to 60 or 60 to 120.
I think it's also fine if you've never experienced that particular game at a higher frame rate. But once you have, it's really So if you've played whatever game and it's never been at 60 and you've never experienced it at 60, then it's fine to keep playing it even if you're playing over 60 FPS games. But for games where you flip between frame rates, you just can't go back to lower frame rates.
Bungie, do you reckon they could be bought out? Are they on the list?
This is Destiny 2 that you can play anyway.
I wrote a long piece for that, a lot of notes, and I never got the chance to talk about it on a specific show. But
we'll do that, because I was thinking, $7.5 billion gets you a lot of bloobers, it gets you a lot of Asobos, it gets you Bungies, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So if they can afford to spend that sort of money, then they could go and buy up a load of studios. But perhaps we'll do that, VJ, then.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of the games you're about to see are
Puxley, Destiny 2.
I jumped into the game for the first time when it went free to play on PC. Me and my friend played it for a couple of hours, but outside of that, I didn't. It got a bit samey for me. Like graphically, it looks fantastic, but missions-wise, it didn't feel too different the more I played it. So we just kind of stopped.
Okay. You did a video of playing it on your mobile phone, I believe, didn't you?
Yes, I did a cloud gaming video. Yeah.
This is Stalker 2. Now, this is a console launch exclusive. So I don't really know what that means, if I'm honest. Does that mean it's a console launch exclusive? Because it's not coming until 2021, apparently. So does that mean it's on Xbox only? I'm guessing it might.
It's Xbox first and then PC, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Chat, do you know?
Yeah, let us know if you know, chat. You're very knowledgeable with these sort of things. So an open world first-person shooter with an immersive sim and horror elements, apparently. And the platform says it's coming on Xbox Series X and S and PC. Stalker 1, Luke, PC game, Shadow of Chernobyl. Did you ever play it?
I did. Loved it. Yeah, brilliant game.
So talk us through it. What kind of game is it?
The best way I can describe it is similar to something like Metro, but with more of a immersive sim element. So Metro is not really an immersive sim. It's much more, and there are bigger survival elements in it. But it's really good. The first one, again, it's kind of one of those cult classic type games that nobody really expected to get a sequel on.
It seems to have lit the chat up. They seem to be excited for this, and I've got to be honest. I mean, I didn't really see enough to be excited, but
when I saw this, immediately it just took my mind back to the HBO show Chernobyl. Such an inspiration, I think, that for this game.
So this, I believe, is Warhammer Darktide. Now, it's down as a shooter game, action adventure. Is it a first-person shooter? It kind of looks like it is.
I think some of the older games are over-the-shoulder third-person, I believe. But I've not played them, so chat, correct me if I'm wrong there.
I haven't played them all. This does look interesting, though. This is, again, I will be downloading this on Game Pass and certainly giving it a go.
I've reached a term of prime and begun our investigations.
I can't remember what we thought it was, but when we watched this for the first time back in July,
we got it wrong.
We were both. I can't remember what we said it was, but we was confident it was this other thing, and then we saw Warhammer come up. It was like, hey,
I can't remember what that was now, but it's made by Fat Shark, Platform is Xbox Series X and S and PC, so I'm not sure this is coming to PS5, or if it is, it's possibly a timed exclusive. But oh yeah, first-person action adventure game.
Oh, it is first person. Cool.
Yeah, developed by Swedish video game studio Fat Shark, which is planned to be released exclusively on Microsoft Windows and Xbox Series X and S in 2021.
World premiere.
Oh my goodness, Flap 2021's busy, isn't it?
Well, it is at the moment. Whether things will get stretched from 2021 beyond, who knows?
I'm struggling to keep up with 2020.
Well, this game intrigues me. Tetris Effect. I've not played a Tetris game since I had a Game Boy, if I'm honest.
So this game isn't actually new, though, is it? It's just coming to Xbox, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
With some updates and visual tweaks, I think.
You know, the strange thing is, it's coming on the 9th of November. Which is it was one of the few games that's coming on the 9th and not the 10th. But have you played this, Pux? Because is it on Switch or it's on PlayStation, isn't it?
I believe it is on PlayStation. It's not on Switch, I don't believe. Tetris 99 is on Switch, but I could be wrong there. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't think it's on Switch.
It's great on PS4. It actually has PSVR support.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
VR support.
How is that implemented?
It's basically as you see here, but just kind of more of a dynamic angle across the arena, as it were. It's actually a really, really cool game.
SX2's just said that apparently it was originally a VR title in its own right.
Oh wow,
which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like in VR especially, it's quite the sensory experience. It's I think John Lineman from Digital Foundry actually. I mean, I've played it on VR and I was really impressed by it. But I think he noted that he got quite emotional playing it because it is with a combination of the music and the visuals and everything like that. It's
I
really
wasn't expecting to be moved by Tetris.
Yeah, by Tetris. Yeah. But it's super cool. It's really cool. This looks brilliant.
So this is the Gunk. And yeah, this really does intrigue me. And I'm sure Indie Gamer will probably chime in with this one a little bit. It does look intriguing.
This also reminds me of a game called The Hob, which some may remember. It was like some sort of third-person exploring game. You was like a little character like this, but you had like this. I think it was a robot or something. Indie Gamer can help me out here, I think. But you had like a weird mechanical hand in that one, and it kind of did a similar thing in a way.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of Journey to the Savage Planet a little bit. It's kind of got those sort of vibes as well. So Shady, yes, I believe everything that we're seeing in the July showcase is launching on Game Pass. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so this is developers Image and Form Games, apparently. Publisher by Thunderful Publishing. Coming to Xbox Series X and S and PC. Oh, and Xbox One. Release date? Oh, we've got a month, September 2021, which is surprising. It seems quite a long way out. But
I believe this is also made in Unreal Engine 4.
Oh, I didn't find that bit out, to be honest. The Gunk is a third-person action adventure you've been waiting for. Lead a duo of outer space explorers that chance upon a dangerous planet plagued by a corruptive gunk. Explore, craft, gather, and survive. So it's that kind of game. Now, this is the only title to actually appear in both showcases. I meant to say that during the May one. This is The Medium again. But this time we actually get to see a little bit of the sort of the duality of the gameplay in this particular clip.
This is where it also specifically said that, both kind of worlds, so to speak, are also rendered simultaneously, I believe.
Yes.
Which I found very interesting because usually you would completely turn off one part of the rendering for one stage and obviously have to load that in later on. But on current gen, so I find that very impressive that they're doing it on the fly.
And it's quite, I don't know if the narrative has come from Xbox, but they have pushed this as can only be done on the next generation. So it's interesting to see how it performs on PC or what level of spec PC would need to have for this to run, because I suspect it wouldn't be monstrous, if I'm honest. But
I feel like they released the specs for this the other day, but I'll have to try and dig them out.
I am intrigued by this. Are you intrigued by this, VJ? Is this the sort of thing you could sort of get your teeth into?
The medium, yeah, I think I've been speaking about it quite extensively over on Boom's show. How this and I've forgotten the name of the other games that's coming out. That's really impressed me, especially coming out of Poland, right? So it is Poland, isn't it? Blue,
Yes.
And alongside with Cyberpunk, and both of those, it's interesting. I was saying, actually having a game released at launch, and I've done it a couple of times. There's no feeling like it, Flap. It's like scoring a goal, a touchdown, or whatever, or a birdie, or a hole in one. It's an amazing feat, and I hope it does release and hit. I know it's not exactly on launch date, but in and around, it's a fantastic
launch window. Launch window
for a studio, especially on a new hardware system they're not experienced with. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So interestingly, the recommended requirements for this are a 2080, and they also recommend an SSD.
Well, then that does lend to the fact that it can only be done on next gen. Then,
yeah, even on the low requirements, they recommend an SSD. So it does give it that kind of next gen.
No, I'm very intrigued. I'm so pleased it's coming to Game Pass because come December the 10th, I'm sure we'll all be playing that. It's going to be great.
You can see how much they've improved Bloober since their previous game. I know Luke's probably more familiar with than I am, but you can see that if there's anything to go by what we've seen is, I think it's been pretty interesting, pretty exciting.
They're also doing, and it's worth recommending this, that their last game, which I mentioned earlier, Observer, they're doing a next gen upgrade for, I think this year, which has things like ray tracing in it, higher frame rate, high resolution, and that's a really brilliant game, which I'd recommend a lot. So probably go and check that out as well.
Is that in Game Pass as well? Or?
I don't think it is. It may have been at some point, but it's a cyberpunk horror type game, which is really cool.
What's our take on this? Big Fantasy Star Online player, VJ?
I was a big Final Fantasy fan back in the day, especially on the Dreamcast.
This is Fantasy Star Online, though.
Wasn't it online on before?
I think it was the same thing on Dreamcast, because that was like the first system to actually, or the first game to almost have proper online play, I believe, or one of the first.
Yes, it did come with a built-in modem, actually, didn't it?
Yes,
Go Puxley.
My main memories of Dreamcast are Crazy Taxi and Choo Choo Rocket. So
I thought he was going to say Jet Set Radio.
No, you know what? I've never played that.
Oh, kick him off the show, Flap. Another one.
I'm that young. I'm afraid.
He's young. I know. I'll educate him. Don't worry.
Can you not time out the panel now and again, Flap?
You stick him in timeout. Yeah. Go and think about what you've just said, Puck.
Luke's got one pending, and now Puxley's got one pending.
I'll get my dance hat and sit in the corner.
But I've played Jet Set Radio, VJ, so that should mitigate the one before.
Funny enough, there was a little tag in the corner saying that it's powered by Windows Azure servers. Oh, this one I had forgotten about, and I'm really excited for because I think this trailer looks fantastic.
This looks brilliant.
Crossfire X. Now, I've played the beta of the multiplayer, and to my shame, I was kind of expecting a Call of Duty experience, and you certainly don't get that. It's its own thing, but the single-player campaign blew me away, and it seems quite out of Remedy's kind of comfort zone almost. I think it looks fantastic.
It does. The only thing I really dislike about this is that the single player specifically is not in Game Pass.
That's a peculiar move, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to buy that separately. So Crossfire is free to play, and it will be free to play when it hits the Xbox. But the single player you have to buy.
Wow.
Which is fine because I don't think it will be like a full price game, and it looks phenomenal, and it's made by Remedy. But it just annoyed me in the way that it was shown because you kind of look at it and think, well, it's got to be in Game Pass, then, and it actually isn't. So.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point there. A multiplayer and a single player. I was thinking about this at Call of Duty, and the campaign was available for $25. I don't play that much multiplayer, but I'd love to experience a single player campaign or whatever. If it's for a fair price, no issue. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that this kind of game's also really big in the Asian market or South Korea specifically?
Crossfire is, yes. It's just the biggest game in the world, one of them. biggest first-person shooter. Yeah.
Flap, does it look as good as we're seeing in the trailer, like when you're playing it?
Well, that was the single player. I've played the multiplayer, and it doesn't, if I'm honest, doesn't look quite like that, if I'm honest. But multiplayer is obviously slightly different.
When's the single player out? Let's have a look.
It says coming in 2020.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if that's single or multiplayer. The multiplayer is by Smilegate, which I believe are they Korean?
Possibly.
Yeah, SX2 saying the multiplayer is old. I think Smilegate have updated it. You've got an aim down the sight mode and stuff as well, because the original certainly didn't have an aim down sight mode. But, am I the only one in the chat that's played the beta? Because it was quite an experience. I've got some videos of me playing it. I could upload them. I'm sure someone else in the chat was playing it.
That means we'll have more to share later this year.
So this is the last one of the July showcase.
Yeah, the most impressive for me. I know we don't really get to see much of it, but
no, unfortunately we don't.
But it's again, Flap, it's the intent.
Yeah, exactly. And there's only one studio in the entire Microsoft lineup that I think would be entrusted with this, and I think it's Playground Games, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Flap.
Yeah. And you know what? Even like we were saying, just the intent, you can see that Playground Games have got the humour and what Fable is all about just from this trailer.
Do you reckon they would still make it a single player experience, or do you reckon they'll try and expand on it with multiplayer, like they tried to do with Fable? What was that other Fable game that came out?
Apparently, it's a single player game.
Okay. I think I read some fairly credible insider rumors that whilst it is single player focused, they were looking to implement some multiplayer elements into it. Specifically, things like they do in Forza, where you can obviously have kind of the ghosts that appear in your world, and have a similar kind of mechanic where when you go into certain hub towns, you can see other players and interact with other players. Which makes sense in the context of Fable, because particularly if that game is set, as kind of all the heroes were in the world and existing rather than just a couple. So, but I'd be shocked if it wasn't very single player led, because surely it has to be, right? Nobody's buying Fable for it to be some kind of multiplayer fest.
I took a snapshot from a website, and I can't remember the website, so I do apologise. But apparently, rumours existed that Fable 4 was currently in development with Playground Games. An Xbox Live API leak confirmed that a Fable-related project codenamed Wisdom was being developed by a UK-based studio. Allegedly, the success of the PS4 title Horizon Zero Dawn inspired Microsoft to produce a suitable competing single-player RPG title.
Yeah, I'd read, funnily enough, I'd read somewhere that one of the stories behind Fable actually coming to fruition was that Playground were making an open world action RPG that wasn't, that was kind of a bit fantasy-esque, but a bit different. And they pitched it to a lot of publishers, including Microsoft. And apparently Microsoft turned around and went, actually, why don't you just make a Fable game, like basically what you're doing, but with the Fable aspects, and that's how it kind of became as it is now. So I don't know how true that is, but I'd heard that was quite credible. So I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's both the showcases, but there's still some games missing. I mean, we didn't see Flight Sim in there at all, and I don't believe we've still got a date for Flight Sim on the Xbox Series X. So that's not been touted as coming as a launch title.
I thought I remember seeing a December date somewhere. Again, that could be completely wrong, but I'm sure I read somewhere that it was coming in some point December, maybe.
Chat, update us if that's the case. I mean, it would certainly be a launch window title, I would have thought. No, it's roughly 3 months, I think, isn't it, normally from launch?
Can I quickly go back just to answer Bauer's question in the chat, actually, because I think it's actually quite interesting about, do the older Fable games still hold up today? And I think that's quite an interesting question, actually, because I've got the Fable. I played the original on the original Xbox, and I've also got the Fable Anniversary version, which was like the updated version of it. I think if you played the original or are a big Halo fan anyway, you'll love the first game. But I think if you've never played it before, I am of the opinion that Fable 1 at least would feel very aged, and it would feel very of its time
I think the game mechanics of it would. I think, game mechanics wise, we've come a long way. But I think story and stuff, and it's quite charming, isn't it, and whimsical.
Yeah.
I think that, I think it's still quite magical.
I mean, I think if you've never played it before, I probably recommend to play the first one in some capacity, whether that's original or the remastered version, and then play Fable 2, because I think that by far is the best one out of the three, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair point. So we also didn't see the initiative game, and we still haven't seen the initiative game. VJ, when do you think we're going to start seeing that? Because there has been rumours that we're going to be getting another sort of showcase on the 9th of November, although Microsoft did tweet earlier that they've got a showcase coming on the 10th of November, which I thought was a little odd. I retweeted it earlier, actually. Are we going to see the initiatives game anytime soon, do you think, or are they just hanging on to that one?
The initiative, when was it formed? It was announced at E3 2018 initially, I believe.
Yeah.
So how many years is that? It's about 2 years. Let's say 2 and a bit years. And I was having this discussion on Boom's channel again, and Archimedes is chomping at the bit for information of the initiative, of Senua's Saga, anything from the sort of like the top tier studios over at Xbox Studios, Game Studios. And I sort of reminded him. I said to him, "Do you remember like God of War when that was being rebooted? It took them. There were 2.5 years in pre-production, before they showed anything. So, and I said you've got to be a little bit patient and give them time. And I think they're taking their time at the moment because these things they don't happen overnight. What's really interesting for me is are they building this game on Unreal or is it custom tech? Because that obviously that will also make a difference in terms of how the game pans out and how it looks and feels. So I think it's just a case of, for me, I would just like them to, whatever they're showing on is it the 10th? Is it, you said, Flap? What I would like to do is it the 10th?
Yeah, they've announced that there's something going on the 10th. Like the chat's been saying, it's not necessarily a showcase; it's kind of a launch party.
Right.
But there's still kind of rumours that there's something's going to happen on the 9th. So I'm not sure about that at all.
I mean, I know that there's a lot of big things happening down the future, and there's a lot of things we haven't seen. But there's things that they've shown us just in these 2 showcases that you showed us, where I'd like to see a bit more, consolidate everything that they have. Because it kind of like, as gamers, it seems to be like, what's next, and we've seen that trailer. What's next? It's like consolidate. I'd want to see Microsoft consolidate their position right now in terms of the games that they have announced and showing us more of that, and showing us that, And I get that the really sort of like strong marketing, sort of key is sort of showing us what lies in the future. And I'd love to see everything, love to see more, like you said, from the initiative or even Fable and so on and stuff, which is my own personal sort of go to. But I think I just wouldn't want to, I'm in a position where I just don't want to apply unnecessary pressure to see something. I'd love to, but I'd just rather them get it right and not have another Halo situation, which might very well be why we haven't seen things, because they don't want that situation to occur again. But I have to say, the biggest game I'm looking forward to, and hopefully it hits on December 10th, is Cyberpunk.
Yes, I mean, we go. The whole point of tonight's show was just kind of remind everyone of all the fantastic games we've got to come. And we haven't even sort of really spoken about Cyberpunk, Call of Duty, if that's your bag. Me and Puck's are big Call of Duty players. We've still got that yet to happen. And I know these are all sort of cross platforms and stuff, but it's such an exciting year, this one. Starfield, we haven't even begun to discuss the Bethesda acquisition on top of everything that we just saw there. I mean, I think if anyone mentioned that actually, in a couple of months, Microsoft are going to purchase the entire ZeniMax suite of studios, I think you could have knocked most of us over with a feather, to be honest. So to add all of that to the list as well, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Balan Wonderworld, because there was a kind of a pre-show to was it the July one or I can't remember which one it was. There was a bit of a pre-show. Balan Wonderworld, what do you make of that, Luke? Is that your kind of thing?
It looked interesting. Who makes that game again? I can't remember.
Oh, it was the creators of Night Dreams, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, Yuji Naka, wasn't it? Yeah. So it looked really interesting. Something that
now.
I don't know what happened. But it looked cool. It looked really different. I really like titles like that are very imaginative. So I think that's one I'll have a look into.
Excellent. Well, chat. Let us know any games that we've missed that you're looking forward to and that you're going to be playing on day one. What else? What was that? Was it X Mecha? What was that? Mecha. Oh, what was that?
Oh, that one really looked like a tech demo, didn't it?
Indeed.
If I remember correctly.
It looked like a tech demo, but apparently that's how it runs. Apparently it's running like that. We've still got some more. We've got so I've put together. I tweeted it a little bit earlier. Actually, a list of all day one Xbox Series X enhancements coming as well. So Borderlands 3 is getting an enhancement. Dead by Daylight, Devil May Cry Special Edition. I never really got into Devil May Cry. Did anyone else get into that?
No, I've not been too much into those. I think I played Devil May Cry 3 back on the PlayStation 2. Didn't mind it, but wasn't really a big fan.
Yeah, fair enough. Fun speculation. Yeah, Gears Tactics, that wasn't mentioned at all, actually, was it? I'm surprised at that.
In the July showcase, right near the end before the Fable video, it does actually come up with the smallest snippet of Gears Tactics gameplay, but no one actually mentions it in the video. But yeah, I've played it on PC, and I've not played too much of it, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
But because I'm not really into RTS games too much, but from what I did play, it's pretty good, and I'm intrigued to see how well it plays with a controller.
Yeah, Luke, have you played it on PC yet, or are you saving yourself?
No, I've played it on PC. In fact, it's kind of in my rotation of games at the moment. Actually, it's really great, and it's also a surprisingly great looking game as well. I didn't really expect it to be, but it looks fantastic. So, although I am interested, my Puxley said, to see how it translates on controller. But if you can do XCOM on a controller, you can do Gears Tactics.
Well, and also, I guess in Series X, it's got mouse and keyboard support anyway, so you could do it on that if you wanted to, I guess. We've got Enlisted, which I think is a World War II shooter that I think is getting quite a lot of love, actually. Chat, let us know about Enlisted. Evergate is a sort of a little platformer, isn't it? It reminds me of Ori a little bit. VJ, Falconeer, what do you know of the Falconeer?
Not much at all, to be honest with you.
I know it's one of the games that's sort of showcasing 120 frames a second, and I don't think it's actually got any textures whatsoever. Have you heard that, Luke?
Yeah. There's a good Digital Foundry video on that, and another game on the list, The Tourist.
Yes, that's running at 6K.
Yeah, The Tourist is. I played that on Switch. It's a really great game, and it's a really great looking game as well. So I think that will look spectacular, actually, on Series X.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortnite's getting a Series X patch, so is Forza Horizon 4. That could certainly do with one. SX2, Green Pass Gaming did a panel see the Series X ray tracing Watch Dogs Legion footage. No, I haven't actually. I've seen plenty of 3080, 3070 type, even 3090 PC versions of Watch Dogs Legions running. I don't think I've seen any Series X. Is any other panel?
I've seen some photos or pictures on Twitter of people seeing of the ray tracing comparisons, but I'm yet to see this video. I need to jump in and watch it.
Gears 5, that's obviously getting a Series X, and well, they're all Series X and S patches, I'm guessing. But yeah, that looks fantastic. I can't wait to get back into Gears 5 and just see the visual fidelity, the difference, because I played it on Xbox One X. I thought it looked bloody brilliant, and it's obviously running at 60 frames in that. Obviously, Gears Tactics Grounded is getting a Series X patch update. I'm not really sure what that's going to do. King Oddball, what's that one? Pux, can you remember?
King Oddball. Oh, is that the Angry Birds style game?
Oh, I think it is. Yes, there's an Angry Birds style game. This is all coming on November the 10th, by the way. Yeah. Man-Eater is that shark game that's getting a Series X patch. Manifold Garden.
Oh yes, that looks really good. I've played the demo. I've not got the full game yet. If you've played a game called Antichamber on PC, it's kind of like that. It's like a first person optical illusion kind of puzzle game.
Okay.
And it's really intriguing if you like that kind of stuff. Very abstract.
Looked a bit sort of like fractals and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. So in the demo, for example, it looks like the world is infinite around you. And if you fall off the platform, you're actually kind of falling infinitely because you're going past where you was, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you're kind of like in this endless loop if you go up and down. It's very bizarre, but it's very cool.
NBA 2K21's getting an updated patch. Observer System Redux. Is that the Observer? Is that the Bloobers Observer?
Yep. That's the one.
I couldn't get on with that. Did you play that, Luke?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I thought it's.
See, I didn't really get on with that. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, obviously 120 frames, and on a if you're playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps at 120 frames a second on an HDR, well, any HDR TV, but particularly an OLED one, you are in for an absolute treat. Planet Coaster, I've been playing this quite a lot on PC actually. Again, it will be another one to see how that translates into console, but I actually quite like Planet Coaster.
Is that a Game Pass title?
I don't believe it is.
No, okay.
No, I don't think it is. Yeah, The Tourist, that's running. This is one that kind of amazes me. The Tourist is running at a native 6K on Xbox Series X. And it's downsampled to 4K. So apparently it looks so sharp. It's like watching a CGI sort of movie. But it's even got a 4K version of the Series S, which is really impressive. It's kind of the first 4K game I've heard of running on the Series S, and I'm guessing it's 4K 60 as well. It just goes to show you the power of that Series S, to be honest.
To be fair to the game, though, I mean, The Tourist is not big at all. Like, each little section is super small, and I'd argue there's probably not much being rendered on the screen at any one time.
Absolutely agree. It's not pushing any system graphically, is it? But the fact that it's a little indie game that's gone to those lengths, just, for any other little indie developers that, want to do similar, that's an option. And it's the first time we've seen it. And, the consoles aren't even launched yet. So that's great.
That's a good point. I also wonder, because I don't know if you know this, but I believe The Tourist was actually their custom in-house engine that they wrote themselves, I believe.
Okay. That's quite impressive then.
So I think they've done it off their own back kind of thing. They're not utilizing Unreal or doing anything else behind the scenes with an existing engine. I believe it's all their own creation. And assuming I'm correct there, then it makes it even more impressive.
It's got a couple of others. War Thunder, which I think is like World of Tanks, but with planes, isn't it? Is that the one?
War Thunder's been around for a number of years now, I believe. I think that's got quite a big following as well.
It's getting an Xbox Series X patch, Warhammer Chaos Bane Slayer Edition, Watch Dogs Legion, obviously, WRC FIA World Rally Championship, and Yakuza Like a Dragon is getting an Xbox Series X patch. So lots to look forward to. That kind of concludes our show, to be honest. I've really enjoyed tonight. We haven't hit huge numbers tonight, and I guess that was always going to be kind of a risk, really. It's not about the numbers. It's about, building the hype and just, keeping everyone excited, because in little over a week's time, like I say, we'll all be doing our own unboxing and getting excited and booting up our first game. So we'll just do a quick round the panel. Luke, what game will you be firing up first on your Series X?
I think it'll be Valhalla for me.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to finally being able to play that on a console at 60 FPS, and it looks really cool. So that will be the first one, I think.
Just out of interest, while we're there, what will be the first thing you fire up on the PlayStation 5? And we won't include Astro's Playroom or whatever it's called.
That is a really difficult question because I don't know. I think right now, and this is just because it's fresh in my memory from the gameplay trailer they released the other day, it'll probably be Demon's Souls.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense. VJ, what do you think you'll be firing up first?
What I'd like, I tell you, I'll answer this question in a different way. What I'd like to fire up is Fable.
Well, yeah, okay.
But look, we're on a podcast. Have a bit of fun. Why not? Right? That would be my ideal game.
Well, if we're going there, the thing I want to fire up is Red Dead Redemption 3. To be honest,
yeah,
if we're playing that game.
Yeah, I haven't really seen a CGI trailer for that yet, so we'll have to wait.
It might be a way off that one.
Yeah, so that's actually another interesting topic. Maybe one of the Hauser brothers has obviously left Rockstar, and it would be interesting what happens to them, considering what happened to Cody's after the brothers left there. Well, not left, but got paid out, and then one left. I think about 7-8 years ago, 10 years ago actually, left. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out for Rockstar. And sort of back to reality, to answer your question. I think it's a toss-up at the moment between Gears 5 and probably Cyberpunk.
Okay, yeah.
But
I was going to say, you're going to have to wait for that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's kind of made things a little bit, easier, right?
Well, Fun Speculation wants to fire up Halo Infinite 2. So good luck with that one, my friend. You might have a little bit more of a wait for that one. I'd be interested to see if there ever is a Halo Infinite 2. That would
Sometimes I wonder how many of our chat actually live in a parallel universe.
Yeah. Does he know something we don't? Now, Pux, unfortunately, you wasn't successful in securing an online purchase on day one for Series X. Are you planning to try and get one in the store, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's all these stories out about there's going to be more stock at launch and after launch, so I'm going to try my luck as soon as I can.
I think they will be. I think they will.
Yeah, but to answer your question, though, I mean, I'm probably a bit of a bizarre case here because the first thing I'm actually interested to do is to boot up Crackdown 1 and see what that looks like with Xbox Series X enhancements, believe it or not.
Really? Crackdown
Yeah,
1?
I know.
You know why he's saying that? You know why he's saying that? He's tanking for a job over at Digital Foundry.
Wow, I'm guessing that's not going to be on many people's lists.
To be fair, I'm not saying I'm going to play the whole game. I'm just that'd probably be the first thing, one of the first things I'll be interested to do. Outside of that, I think I'm with Luke here that I'd very much looking forward to jump into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes, that's coming on day one for me. And you're coming over, aren't you? I've got 2 Series X's turning up, believe it or not. One for me, one for my partner. So we're going to be firing one of those up and loading up Valhalla and then doing a little video on that as well. But Wakanda Xbox News today, thank you very much. Kind comment, great show. He enjoyed it, relaxing to listen to. I wasn't sure how today was going to pan out. I didn't know if the tech was going to hold up. I know it's a little bit of a break from the norm, but we do like to try and shake things up. We will obviously be back to our normal kind of podcasts in the next week or so. We do have some special shows coming up next weekend and the Monday after, so Next Gen Eve. Really excited for that. Again, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have loads of people on the panel. We're going to have at least 6 or 7 people, and I know that sounds a little bit of a blowout, but it's just going to be a bit of a chat around next generation, what we're excited for, what we're going to be doing, how we went about buying our consoles and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that one. And
sorry, go on. Sorry. I was going to say, just a quick one from Fugly, actually, before we do close out. Ask the question. So how is the national lockdown going to affect in-store purchase in the UK for November 10th?
Good question. Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer?
I think you know a bit more than I do, but I believe Game in the UK, I believe they're setting up a kind of special pre-order service, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I believe it is. I think it's either going to be like a click and collect service where you can pay for it and buy it, and then you collect it at a particular designated point, or they may actually be, I'm guessing, couriering them out to people as well. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. I did post a tweet earlier, actually, and Wakanda XNT did actually forward that. We'll have to go back over the tweet if we can. Can I quickly share that with the chat? Let's just have a quick look, see if I can share that. Bear with me.
There's another, while you're looking for that, there's actually another little indie game I'm looking forward to, which actually was shown at E3 2019 for Xbox. It's a little game called Tunic. Does anybody remember this?
Yep. I watched a 1-hour preview, I think, or a 2-hour preview by the Indie Gamer. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I was away that one weekend when it was like the Steam demo released, so I couldn't play it, annoyingly. But that is another little game I'm looking forward to, and I think that's coming out next year, I believe.
Okay, well, that's cool. Let's just click on there. There we go. So this is Game UK. It's a little bit like GameStop in the US. Confirms Xbox Series X and S can be picked up in store despite lockdown on release day. So that's kind of a good sign for the UK at the very least. And you'd like to think if major retailers are doing that in the UK, then obviously the US and other territories may follow suit, I guess.
It's a funny looking Xbox controller.
It is. That's a very strange looking Xbox. It's got an X. That's about the only thing that's right about it, to be honest.
It might be one of Luke's controllers. Is that the special edition over in Jersey?
We don't have special editions in Jersey, VJ. Don't be silly. We'll just feed up the scraps of whatever the UK gets.
Yes, Indie Gamer. Can we get a shout out for 12 minutes? Yes, 12 minutes. Who's hyped for 12 minutes? Because I'd forgotten what this game was called. This is the top-down game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the kind of weird looping game, isn't it, in that one little room?
It's absolutely fantastic. And William Dafoe, James McAvoy, and the lady in Star Wars, Daisy Ridley. Yeah, it looks absolutely phenomenal. And I've been following the journey of how that guy started off on his own, and then developing the game. And you can just see his creative instincts. And then slowly but surely, he's linked up with a really good publisher, a very forward-thinking publisher over here in the States. I forget the name, but it actually a flap. I don't know, but I'd really love it to be a topic at some point on your show, because I'll put some notes together for that as well at some point at the back.
Absolutely.
Really interesting story, and it really gave me an insight into how indie games are coming about, and how they may be the future of AA and AAA studios going into the future. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and that cycle seems to start with companies like that. So anyway, I'll stop there.
Well, if we're, at the top of the show, at the very, very top of the show, if we're talking about things like Bright Memory Infinite, single person developer, it's like, my God, if someone like that can even begin to put something together like that, okay, he's had help with assets and stuff, and obviously the project's grown over time. But if that started with one person and look at where it is right now, my God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just a quick shout out, the Indie Gamer. Yeah, he's just Annapurna Interactive. Yeah. That's the publisher over in Los Angeles, but they've got a really interesting background. But we'll go into that another time. Sorry, just wanted to give them a quick.
No, that's fine. And to be honest, like I say, it's in the spirit of the show. This is everything that's exciting that we've yet to come on. On a lot of this was obviously multi-platform, so this isn't necessarily specifically Xbox, although some of it obviously was. But yeah, you can enjoy a lot of this. You can enjoy most of this on PC, some of this on PS5. And obviously, there was some games in the PS5 showcase that is obviously coming to Xbox that wasn't necessarily shown in the Xbox showcases, either of them. So there's even more than what we've been through tonight. And I've really enjoyed tonight. Like I say, it's a little bit different. I hope everyone in the chat's enjoyed it. Like I say, the tech seems to have held up. I had my mobile phone playing YouTube, and the frame rates look quite good. They can be a little bit choppy, but...
But just one other thing, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
I know a lot of people in the chat don't know this, but I just wanted to say I really appreciated. I mean, I get a lot of show notes from different shows, but the show notes that you put together were absolutely outstanding work, Flap, on these show notes, from listing every title, developer, publisher, format, and release date with a side dish or side nuggets of interesting info. So I really appreciate it. And I know the chat don't see it, but yeah, we want them to know that a lot of effort went into putting this show together. And I, for one, really appreciate it.
No problem. I really appreciate the acknowledgement of that, because I got to be honest, I was thinking, actually, I was thinking if we can just do a kind of a show where we kind of talk about the showcases and stuff. And I know Luke gave it the thumbs up as well, because I was a little bit unsure. And I was thinking, well, this should be quite easy, actually. And then I'm thinking, actually, we're going to need a heads up on what's coming on the video. And then I was thinking, well, actually, we're going to need release dates, developers. So it actually turned out to be a lot more work than they normally are. But I'm hoping it was worth it. And I really appreciate the acknowledgement of that. But
no, I think not just for that, but because of the number of shows I'm on, it's just for my own education. I don't remember everything, and it just gave me a real recap before the recap of the show itself.
No, exactly. I was hoping it might be different from from the shows that you normally do, because you do lots, and this is probably a little bit out of the ordinary for all of us. But no, that's cool. Well, thank you very much. Let's do our rounds. So let's start with you then, VJ. Well, thank you for being here. It's been an absolutely great show. I've absolutely enjoyed it. Hopefully the chat seems to have liked it as well. So yeah, VJ, where can we find you on the socials?
This is probably the worst part of the shows, for all of the shows for me. I find it a little bit weird, like saying people can find me. I don't really want to be found, but you can find me at VJ at Viewpoint Gaming on Twitter, as and when I have internet.
And you can be found on any good podcast.
Well, this one, let's say, on the Sunday. It was really fantastic to have Luke back on. I always love chatting with him and ribbing each other. It's fantastic. Puxley was a bit quiet today. I think, I think he was gaming in the background secretly.
Not at all. Not at all.
He's too busy coding in Unity. That's what he's doing. He's trying to get his game out.
Now I'm going to make that history. That game, and I'll show them what I can do. And thanks for having me back on the show, Flab. I really appreciate it. But I'll tell you what will be interesting when these new generation systems come in. Will any of us be changing our on-screen avatars? Yeah.
Well, mine's from the 360 era, so is Puxley's. But actually, no, yours is the Xbox One era, I believe, Pux.
Yeah, mine's one of the many default ones that are available. But I have changed it on my Xbox actually to the Banjo-Kazooie thing.
Okay.
So I might do an update. I don't know yet.
That's a good point. Luke, thank you for being here. Like you say, I sent the show notes out. I was a little bit like, I don't know if this is going to work, but you came back straight away saying, yeah, I think we can get this to work. So thank you for that. I appreciate you being here. I hope you had a good time. Where can we find you?
Oh yeah, thanks. It's always a pleasure being on this show, and it's great interacting with you all, and it's just a really great show, and the topics are always really interesting. And today's show was a lot of fun, actually, and I thought it would be. You can find me at Luke Steele 90 on Twitter, where I'm either posting nonsense or not posting at all. So always great, and just VJ specifically, always great being on a panel with you, because it's always a lot of fun.
We are blessed with fantastic panel members, and I am very grateful for everyone's time and effort that they put into the show. And it's exactly that makes it. So yeah, thank you very much, Puxley, my right hand man. Thank you for being here. This is actually kind of the second time we've done this, because we did a video, didn't we, of the July showcase that had I think it's got about 70 views now, but that was our very first video that we ever did, our very first podcast. And it was literally just us two, and we were going through. We made a few mistakes, and here we are a few months later. We got coming up for 550 subs, and we had nearly 60 people watching last week's show and stuff. It's been an absolutely crazy few months, hasn't it? But
it's been mental, as you say. I think our first subscribers were me and you on our personal accounts. So
yeah, that's how it tends to start.
It's grown very nicely from there. Yeah, and I think we've built a really good community so far, and hope it can continue to grow it as time moves on, I guess.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your game and where we can find you and it.
Okay, so for those who may not have joined at the beginning, that Unity coding joke that VJ just made is not entirely baseless. So I do a bit of indie dev now and again. I gave myself a little Halloween challenge about 2 p.m. on Saturday. Took a bit longer, so I know it's just after Halloween, but I just finished later this afternoon. In about 12 hours, I put together a little 5-minute game, which I'm going to be putting up on itch.io imminently. So once that's online, I shall send a link out on my personal Twitter, and hopefully, and if you're interested, by all means, give it a go. If you've got 5 minutes, and tell me what you think. Leave a like or a comment, whatever else, on that itch.io page, and I plan for that to expand over time as well. So as I put more projects out, I'll make sure that you guys can play them and hopefully enjoy them. Outside of that, for any new listeners in the panel, in the chat, sorry, you can find us on Twitter at Green Pass Gaming. You can also find us on Facebook as well, which is Green Pass Gaming. So if you want to go there, feel free to like and share on there. We also have an Xbox Club as well. So if you'd like to join that, where we plan to do future tournaments and gaming sessions, as that grows, you can find us on Xbox Clubs on both the Xbox console and on PC. And as for myself, you can find me on Twitter at Puxley AR.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Well, chat, I need to give you a special shout. You guys, you guys make the show, really. We could be here just doing this for our own benefit, and we'd have a great time. But you guys, knowing that you're out there and you're listening to this and enjoying it and responding, and sometimes not enjoying it and stuff, we get a little bit of pushback, but that's absolutely fine. So guys, thank you very much. I'm just going to do a very quick few shout outs, and if I don't mention your name, I do apologize. So Froggy T Wright, Fun Speculation, always there. Fugly, always there. 2 guys that are going to be on the Next Gen Eve show. Really excited for that. Indie Gamer, Wakanda XNT, who have we got? Pong Soul, you're in every chat I ever see. It's great to see you. Back from the Dead One. I've got to scroll back so far. The regional Next Level Gaming, thank you for being here. Indie Gamer, if I didn't say you, we had UK Dazarus earlier, was a 55. Museko, she's no Elite. Oh my goodness me, so many great people. Assassin Looper, Dragon Wolf, just guys, thank you all so much for being here. You follow me on Twitter, you share tweets, post tweets. It's so great to have your support. I absolutely love Flap number 2 on Twitter if you want to contact me, but most of my tweets come via Green Pass Gaming. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this show. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Really excited for next week's show. Please make sure you tune in, hit the like, share and subscribe buttons. It does mean a lot to us, and we'll see you on the next one.